Welcome back. It is September 5th, 2022. Happy Labor Day. I don't really have much to talk about this week. Just been continuing to prep, show-wise, doing runs, spot checking, that kind of thing. Update on the bass trombone. It is being shipped back to me either today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow because today's a major holiday. So I should have it within the next 5 days, hopefully by Saturday. So that's good news. Sounds like the buzz has been taken out of it, which is excellent. So that's pretty much the only bit of news I have this week. I figured I'd talk a little bit about equipment, or at least part of the equipment, the first sort of equation when you're setting up your equipment for a show, which is the mouthpiece. And I think I'll talk a bit about the horns next week when I have both of them to show off. But today we're going to be looking at mouthpieces and how to choose the right one for the job. So one of my core beliefs is finding the right cup diameter, that is to say the width between inner rims on a mouthpiece. You want to find a diameter that works for your facial features, that you're comfortable with, that feels natural. For me, that took a while. I've played on a bunch of different mouthpieces. The last two shows I did were on a Dennis Wick 6BS, which was a good all-around mouthpiece, but a little narrow in cup width, I would say. I like the depth, I like the throat of it, but little too narrow for my mouth. If you want a broader overview, if you're confused as to what I'm talking about, I have a video about mouthpiece basics on my channel. You can check it out. It goes over just the basic parts to a mouthpiece: the cup, the rim, the throat, the stem, that kind of thing. Anyway, I have a pretty good relationship with the Marcinkiewicz brand of mouthpieces. Talking to them, they're really great about working with customers on custom work, custom pieces, doing unique things, and I've been trying out a couple different pieces for the Book of Mormon. This show is very much a commercial show. It's bright. It's kind of punchy in your face. There's rock and roll, metal, funk, Afrobeat, jazz. So it's very much a commercial style show. Not really any classical playing to speak of, but there are quiet, gentle passages which require, some delicate playing. So with that in mind, I had three that I was kind of trying out. The first one I gave a try was this custom piece by Marcinkiewicz with their special concert hall body. Most of their standard mouthpiece is more of a V shape, thinner walled. This one has more mass to it, which gives it more projection, which in a pit setting, you're playing into a microphone, you don't really need projection. So, but in addition to projecting a little bit better, you get more stable dynamics and intonation. Just a more stable sort of platform all around. This is a regular Model 4 from Marcinkiewicz with it, in the concert hall shape. But I had them, rather than the large throat that they would normally put on this mouthpiece, I had them put the H-sized throat, which comes from their Model 8H. I don't know if you can see that at all. I like this size throat. I have it on all my Marcinkiewicz mouthpieces now. This mouthpiece, I love the depth. It's the right size. It's a deep cup, which allows a lot of room for dynamics and provides me a lot of stability. It's great in the mid-range. It's a very fat rim and pretty round, pretty soft feeling on the lips. So endurance-wise, it's great. It's just a little too, I think, deep of a cup for this particular show. I really like it. I wish it was a little bit punchier in the upper register. When you're trying to match a lead trumpet player, this really isn't the mouthpiece for that job. And this show has some screaming trumpet, so I like it. I think I wish it had a slightly flatter rim, but honestly, that might ruin it. It's just the articulations are nice and rounded and soft, and it's the perfect chamber ensemble mouthpiece, honestly, because it can play so delicately, and it has a very warm sound. So I do really like it. I think this isn't the right setting for it, though. I've also given some playing time to the standard Model 8H. I don't know. Yeah, we can't. Yeah, there it is. This mouthpiece has the same throat venturi as my other two. It's more of a V-shaped cup, so more kind of like that, rather than bowl-shaped. It feels pretty open. This one's is compared to like a 28 millimeter cup depth, I think, on this. This one's like a 26 millimeter, 26 and a half, something like that. I might get those numbers wrong. You can look up the measurements on the Marcinkiewicz website. But it's a V-shaped cup. Pretty open throat, though, for the cup depth. It's the same cup width as the 4. So again, it feels the same on my lips. The rim is a bit more narrow than the 4. It's not quite as rounded, so it has a little bit more, I guess I would call it grip, or a more narrow profile on my lips, which changes the articulation somewhat, makes the articulations a bit punchier, more aggressive, which I thought would be great for a show like this, but it's just not. I was playing it yesterday, giving it a full, well, not a full one, because I kind of gave up on it, but half of a run through of the book, and I just found that it just didn't respond the way I really needed it to for some of these quieter passages. It's really a punchy mouthpiece. I think it'd be great for, a funk band. I play it when I do wedding gigs and I'm doing pop 40 hits. This is a great mouthpiece because it's a bit brighter and punchier and aggressive, and it's great for that stuff. But for this stuff, this show's pretty bright, pretty commercial, but I couldn't round out the middle and the bottom of the instrument range as well as I would like. So this one, and also I feel like the rim, because it's more narrow, is a bit too aggressive sometimes, and it's not really what I'm looking for. It's not very well rounded. It's not a very well rounded mouthpiece. It does a few things pretty well, but other things not so much. I feel like I'm fighting it, and that's not what I want when I have to play, a show every night. So I think I've settled on this mouthpiece from Marcinkiewicz. This is their Model 9B. There it is. But again, I've had Marcinkiewicz drill this with the H venturi, the H throat from the 8H. I really like this throat size matched with the medium bore of my trombone. I think it matches well, it plays well together. This one's a bit deeper cup, so this is their standard shape, like the last one. The cup depth is like maybe a millimeter or half a millimeter deeper, so it's a little deeper. Feels a little bit more rounded, but I think Marcinkiewicz, they have a lot. This one's somewhat V-shaped cup as well. I think they like that style of cup, but it has a bit more depth, so you get a bit more of the mid-range overtones, a little bit warmer sound. It's the same rim profile as the 4, so again, very soft contour, wide. It's easy to play on. There's not a lot of surprises when you're on your attacks, which is a good thing. But unlike the 4H, this one has a shallower cup, so you get a bit brighter sound out of it, and the upper register is a bit more efficient, which I found I really needed. I was fighting the upper register quite a bit on the 4 for the sound that I needed, and on this one, the 9B-H, this one, the upper register becomes a little bit more efficient, a little bit brighter, that kind of sound that I'm looking for, because the cup depth is a little bit smaller. But because it has this wonderful, wide, softly contoured rim, the quiet passages, the quiet padding in the mid-range of the horn that I do have in this book becomes a bit easier. So I think this is the one I'm going to stick with for the show. I think it's the ideal blend. You get a nice fat low end out of it once you've warmed up, but you still have a somewhat brilliant, upper register. And we'll talk next week about the lead pipe and sort of the equipment choices that I've made to go along with this mouthpiece. So that's it for this week. Sorry this was such a gear-oriented post, but you trombonists out there will nerd out over it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next week.